Success is 1% talent and 99% hard work. Let me tell you about two musicians I've worked with. The first one, let's call her Amy, had what people call natural talent. She could sing beautifully from a young age with minimal training. She had perfect pitch. Music seemed to flow out of her effortlessly. Everyone told her she was gifted, that she was born to be a star. The second musician, let's call him Alex, was awkward when he first picked up a guitar. His voice was unremarkable. He had to work incredibly hard to learn basic music theory. Nothing came naturally to him, but he practiced obsessively. He took lessons from multiple teachers. He studied every great musician he could find. He worked on his craft with relentless dedication. Fast forward 5 years. Amy is still waiting for her big break, frustrated that her obvious talent hasn't translated into success. She practices sporadically, assuming her natural ability will carry her through. Alex has built a thriving career as an independent artist with a devoted following and sustainable income. He's not the most naturally talented musician out there, but he's worked harder than almost anyone I know. This story repeats itself constantly in the music industry, and it illustrates one of the most important truths I can share with you. Talent is overrated, and hard work is underrated. Now, before you misunderstand me, let me be clear. I'm not saying talent doesn't exist or doesn't matter. Some people do have natural advantages, maybe a naturally pleasant voice, or good rhythm, or an intuitive understanding of melody. These advantages are real, but here's what I've learned from my years in this industry, both as a practitioner and as a researcher. Talent is just a starting point. It's not a destination, and it's certainly not a guarantee of anything. The belief that you either have it or you don't when it comes to talent is one of the most destructive myths in the music world. It causes naturally talented people to become complacent, assuming their gifts will carry them through without effort. And it causes people who feel they lack natural talent to give up before they've really begun, assuming they can never catch up to those who were born with it. Both of these mindsets are wrong, and both will sabotage your career. Here's the reality. Your abilities as a musician are not fixed. They're not set in stone at birth. Your brain has neuroplasticity. It can form new connections, develop new capabilities, and strengthen existing pathways through practice and repetition. Your muscles have memory that develops through consistent training. Your ear can be trained. Your sense of rhythm can be refined. Your emotional expression can be deepened. Almost everything that makes a great musician can be developed through dedicated, intelligent work. I've seen musicians transform themselves completely through sheer determination and consistent effort. I've watched someone with a genuinely unpleasant voice develop into a compelling vocalist through years of proper training and practice. I've seen instrumentalists who started as complete beginners become technically proficient through disciplined daily practice. I've watched songwriters who initially wrote derivative, forgettable songs develop into compelling storytellers through constant writing and refinement. The science backs this up. Research on expertise consistently shows that what separates masters from amateurs isn't innate talent. It's deliberate practice over extended periods. Studies of elite musicians show they've typically logged 10,000 plus hours of focused practice by the time they reach professional level. That's not talent, that's work. But here's where it gets interesting. It's not just about the quantity of work, it's about the quality. Mindless repetition doesn't create mastery. Deliberate practice does. Deliberate practice means working on your weaknesses, not just your strengths. It's easy to practice what you're already good at because it feels good. But growth happens when you push into uncomfortable territory and work on the things you struggle with, getting feedback and correction. You can't improve if you keep making the same mistakes without realizing it. This is why teachers, mentors, and honest feedback from peers are so valuable. They help you see your blind spots. Staying focused and present, 3 hours of distracted, mindless practice is worth less than 30 minutes of focused, intentional work. Quality matters more than quantity, constantly raising the bar. As soon as something becomes easy, it's time to challenge yourself with something harder. Comfort is the enemy of growth, maintaining consistency over time. One intense month of practice followed by 6 months of nothing accomplishes less than steady, moderate practice over the entire 7 months. Now let's talk about the 99% hard work part. Hard work in the music industry doesn't just mean practicing your instrument or your voice. It means all the work we've discussed in previous tips, the marketing work, the branding work, the networking, the business management, the content creation, the constant learning and adaptation. It's showing up every single day and doing the unglamorous work that nobody sees. It's recording a vocal take 50 times until you get it right. It's responding to every comment on your social media, even when you're tired. It's reaching out to venues and getting rejected 20 times before someone says yes. It's learning video editing at midnight because you can't afford to hire someone. It's writing and rewriting your artist bio until it actually captures who you are. It's studying copyright law, even though it's boring. It's going to networking events when you'd rather stay home. This is the work that separates successful musicians from unsuccessful ones. Talent might determine your starting point, but work determines your trajectory and your destination. I've done the research. I've interviewed successful independent musicians across Turkey and beyond. I've analyzed their paths to success. And what I've found consistently is that the most successful artists aren't necessarily the most talented ones. They're the most persistent ones. They're the ones who kept working when others gave up. They're the ones who treated their music career like the serious business it is, not like a hobby they dabble in when inspiration strikes. Here's what I want you to internalize. If you're reading this book thinking, I'm not talented enough to make it as a musician, you're asking the wrong question. The right question is, am I willing to work hard enough to make it as a musician? Because if you're willing to put in the work, the consistent, deliberate, intelligent work over years, you can develop yourself to a level that would seem impossible to you right now. And if you're reading this thinking, I'm talented, so success should come easier to me, I need you to understand that your natural advantages mean nothing if you don't match them with equal amounts of hard work. In fact, your talent might be a disadvantage if it makes you complacent. The musician with less natural talent but more work ethic will surpass you every single time. So stop worrying about whether you have enough talent. Stop comparing your natural abilities to others. Stop making excuses about what you were or weren't born with. None of that matters as much as what you're willing to do starting today. Commit to the work. Show up every day. Practice deliberately. Learn constantly. Push through the frustration. Embrace the struggle. Stay consistent even when you don't see immediate results. This is how musicians are truly made, not through some mystical gift bestowed at birth, but through thousands of hours of unglamorous, dedicated work that nobody else sees. Your success will be determined not by how much talent you started with, but by how much work you're willing to put in. So get to work.